Hello all, welcome back to Dipforia. This is where I dip for fun. Tonight I'm going to do my first ever scrub ombre, or at least attempt to do my first ever scrub ombre. And I'm going to name this manicure Curella Dipville. It is going to be white and black. So what products am I going to use? I am going to be using my powder brush. Always keep a separate brush for my sparkles. This is my little makeup brush for putting on the scrub ombre. I have my white buffing block, just a plain white buffing block. My little round discus, just in case. I have my 100 180 file. I have my E-File, but I also have a new set of bits that I have been using. And I will leave the link in the description box below. I got this on Amazon, and I want to say it was either $7 or $8. They are fantastic for a first-time user of nail bits. And I use it with my UP200, which I've had. I'm going to be using ASP Quick Dip French Cotton, and this is a very white dip, along with my IGel Beauty DD73 at midnight. As always, I have my Gelish Nail Surface Cleanse, my lint-free wipes, my Beauty Secrets Cuticle Oil for my after mani, since our cuticles take quite a beating as we are prepping everything. I have my ASP Quick Dip Brush Cleanser, in case my dip brushes get a little sticky. I have my Step 1 Nail Primer from ASP Quick Dip. And the series of dips I'm going to use tonight are going to be my Triple Vitamin, number 2, which is the base coat, number 3, which is the activator, and number 4 is the top coat. I haven't really found one that is my favorite. I think they're all about equally the same. I think what I like most about the Triple Vitamin are the brushes are wide and the bottles are sturdy. They're almost like a ceramic type of bottle. And so I like that feeling of a sturdy bottle as opposed to the little plastic bottles. And I'm going to attempt something special with my Scrub on Ombre. I'm actually going to create kind of a crescent moon shape, and I'm going to use my French dip nail forms. And let's see how this works out. All right, so let's get started. First things first, we're going to do a little bit of nail primer. So you can see I have already prepped my nails, did my cuticles, and took off that shiny surface. And again, you just do this very lightly. This is not something you want to file too much on your natural nail beds. So we're just going to give a quick little dash of nail primer all over that nail and that free edge. Just like so. And it doesn't have to be put on any certain way. Just nice, long, even strokes to make sure you cover that whole nail base. My thumb. And then I'm going to give that a minute to dry, adhere to my nail base, and then we're going to start dipping. Okay, so I have my orange wood stick here, and I have the first color, which is my ASP Quick Dip. And I usually just shake mine, roll them around in my hands. However, sometimes people will use an orange wood stick just to mix up that powder really, really well. And so I'll show you how you can do either or. Now you can see this color is really white. All right, let's try to get this on that first finger. When you are using your base coat, what's really important, as you're pulling your brush out of your bottle, you want to circle it around inside. You want to do your best to keep away from putting any product on the top of that bottle, because it will then stick fast. I always start about 3/4 of the way down, and then I push towards my cuticle to help prevent getting the base coat on my cuticle itself. And with this base coat, you want to make sure you're doing nice, even, not too thick layers. And then we're going to dip. I always leave my nail in my dip for at least 10 seconds, if not longer. I want to make sure that I give that base plenty of time to adhere to the dip powder. Once I think that I've had it in there long enough, I just pull it out, tap it off either with your finger. You can use another thing to do it with. Get some of the powder off the bottom, and then you can look at it. Now you can see there, I got a little bit on that cuticle right there, so I'm going to take my little orange wood stick and try to scrape some of that off around that cuticle. You don't want to leave it on the cuticle. And let me just get that off. And then before I brush that excess powder off, I like to leave it sit for at least a minute or so. I want to make sure everything adheres well to the nail bed and to the base. So I do let it sit for just a minute. All right, so I'm going to let that sit, and I'm going to dip the rest, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to try this scrub ombre. Okay, so now I have done 2 dips on my nails for the fresh cotton. And I've used the fresh cotton in the past. And so I've, in the past, done 3 dips, and it was a little bit too white. So I'm only using 2 dips for this particular manicure. All right, now we're going to break out the IGel at midnight. One of the things you want to make sure you do when you're using your powder brush and you are brushing off your excess powder. One, you want to make sure that you use 2 separate brushes. One for dips that do not have sparkles in it, and the second one for a brush that you're going to use with sparkles. Because you don't want to have sparkles in every single manicure going forward. And when you brush off the excess powder, you can brush it right into the dip container. There's not a whole lot of excess powder, as you can see on my fingers. So I'm going to brush them off. And one of the things you really want to be certain of is that you brush them off pretty good. But they have to be 100% dry. If they are not dry, you will brush all the powder off. But you always want to do your best to get all excess powder away, especially before you activate. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. All right, so now is the time to see whether or not we can get this scrub ombre on our fingers. All right, let me open this up. IGel Beauty at midnight comes with a nice protective seal. Oh, wow, that's really, really full, which is a good thing. As you can see, first time that I'm using this. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. Really pretty. If you can see that on the stick. All right. Now, this is going to be the test. Can we do this? So I'm going to take one of my forms that I would use if I was doing a French manicure, because I am not that good at freehanding a French manicure, so I have to use a form. And I'm going to apply this form. Let's move this out of the way. Not across like a French dip. I'm actually going to do something a little different. I am going to put it this way. So you can see that. And I'm going to do the scrub ombre here. And hopefully then we'll peel this off and we'll be able to fix anywhere that doesn't look correct. So I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to dip it into my powder. There's no liquid on this. This is just a dry powder and a dry brush. All right, and here it goes. Let's see how we do. I start in my corners. And all I'm doing is taking that powder that I just took out of my jar and literally scrubbing it on the nail with my powder brush. And so that wasn't dark enough, so we want to add more. Now you can judge how deep you want your color to be. It does not have to, you know, there's no set rules on it has to be so dark or so light. This is really an individual thing. Really just your preference of what you want it to look like as an end result. And because this is my first scrub ombre, I don't have any clue what it's going to look like. We're going to find out together. All right. So I'm going to just take my brush and get my excess off. And I'm going to pull off my form. And gently, because I don't want to rip off any of my dip powder. Okay, so now you can see what I got there. And I'm just going to now fix it so that it looks more seamless, if you will. But it's going to give me that kind of crescent moon shape that I was looking for. All right. You see that now? Let's brush it off and see what it looks like. Little ding right there. Get that off. Let's see. That doesn't look too bad. Put maybe a little bit more down here. A little bit more color. I think I'm going to come across my tip a little bit more. Give it a little bit more dimension by coming across the tip. And I don't need to really have my form on right now because I've already got the line that I'm looking for. All right, let's dust that off. And hopefully that staining will wash off. Look at that. That worked out pretty well, actually. I think it looks pretty nifty. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest and come back. Okay, so I've gotten it on all of my fingernails here, as you can see. And I'm actually really glad I used that French dip form. It really did help me as a first-time ombre scrubber to have more of a definition than it looking all willy-nilly. So let's dust off all this excess powder and see what our results look like. And there's a lot of powder on this one. And I don't know, I think that looks pretty cool. Not too bad for a first try. And again, we want to make sure we get as much excess powder off as possible. Because when we put that activator on, the dust will contaminate the activator. I'm going to take my time and really just get as much off as possible. Let me see. Looks pretty interesting. All right. I think it's time to break out number 3. Triple Vitamin Dip Activator. Let's see what it looks like. So with the activator, you want to make sure that you apply it liberally, but you don't want to over apply it. And again, just kind of these nice, oh, see, we got some excess powder on there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to tap it on so that I don't take too much of that excess powder off. And I'm going to wipe in between. Let's see, is my scrub ombre going to last? Let's see if I can dust a little bit more off here. I'm going to actually tap this on because I don't want to ruin the effect. This might end up coming out more marbled. Look at that. Look how that's kind of going on there. Well, we may not have a successful ombre, but we will have a maybe successful marble. Again, this is all trial and error. This is where, like I said, I dip for fun. Put that activator on. Just patting it, and I'm making sure that I wipe in between because we don't want to contaminate the activator. All right, I'm going to let that dry for at least 2 to 5 minutes. Make sure it's really nice and dry. And once that's dry, I'm going to go in and I'm going to smooth out and buff with my file. And then we'll get ready to apply the top coat and see what this looks like. I think we may have had a ombre fail, but we might have a beautiful marble. All right, so I went ahead, did all my filing, and I rinsed off with water this time just because of the black dip, and also used my Gelish nail surface cleanse to clean in and around my cuticles a little bit. And as you can see, my scrub ombre was not as successful as I would have liked it to be. But that's okay because I just dip for fun. So what I'm doing now is I've already applied my first coat of my triple vitamin number 4 top coat. I'm letting that dry just a little bit. And you might be able to see it. I'm not sure if you can or not, but it doesn't dry real shiny, that first coat, and that's okay because your second coat is what's going to make that really shiny. And if you're curious to know, on my right hand, I have my Beetles gel nail polish, which I do love gel nail polish as well. Just as equally as I love doing dips. So I kind of like both of them a lot. And I wanted to see if I could mess around with this scrub ombre that I see so much of. So obviously a little bit more practice and hopefully we'll make it perfect. I want to thank you all for joining me for this video. Please remember, I'm not a nail technician. I'm just an enthusiast. And my opinions in this video are just about the products that I use. I will link everything down below in the product description box where you can get the dips and stuff that I have purchased, as well as if you have any comments on product descriptions or something you'd like to see me demonstrate, please leave it below in the comments section. I hope you subscribe. I hope you like my videos. And always remember that this is something new and it is a learning process. So don't beat yourself up because it does take time to learn how to dip and use all the liquids and the gel nail polishes and all the different things that you use. So I'm just going ahead and I'm putting on my last coat, and you can see my brush got tacky on my top coat. So I'm going to clean this and then come back and finish doing my top coat. All right, all. I hope you all to be well and be safe, and I will see you next time.